Every fall I see well-meaning gardeners spending serious money and honestly quite a bit of effort filling raised beds entirely with compost. Truckloads get dumped, backs get strained, and wallets get lighter. Here's the hard truth seasoned gardeners eventually learn. Filling a raised bed with nothing but compost is wasteful, unnecessary, and often, well, counterproductive. Compost is not soil, and fall is the perfect season to build beds the smart way, using biology, gravity, and time to do most of the work for you. Let's get straight into the shortcut that saves money, improves soil long-term, and creates healthier plants season after season. Compost is fantastic, but it's meant to amend soil, not replace it entirely. When a raised bed is filled only with compost, it settles aggressively, sometimes losing up to half its height within a year. Nutrients flush out quickly, especially during heavy rains, and the structure collapses into a dense mass that can restrict roots. You end up topping up constantly, chasing fertility instead of building it. Experienced gardeners aim for stable structure first, slow organic breakdown second, and rich topsoil last. Fall is ideal because decomposition starts now and finishes by spring. So, the shortcut is actually quite simple in principle, but honestly pretty powerful in practice. You just bulk fill the lower two-thirds of your raised bed with organic matter that breaks down slowly. Then you cap it all off with a modest layer of soil and compost right on top, where the roots actually grow. Now, this isn't full hugelkultur, and you don't need logs the size of fence posts or anything like that. It's a practical, raised bed friendly approach, and the beauty is you just use what's already available in fall. You'll want to start by filling the bottom 30 to 40% of the bed with coarse material. Things like small branches, prunings, chipped wood, corn stalks, sunflower stems, or even dry maize stalks work extremely well. Just remember to cut or snap any long pieces so they sit flat and don't create air voids. This layer acts a bit like a sponge, holding moisture and feeding fungi over time. On top of that, add a middle layer that makes up another 20 to 30% of the bed height. This layer should be softer, nitrogen-aware material, such as fall leaves, pulled garden plants, grass clippings mixed with straw, or half-finished compost. A good ratio here is roughly 3 parts carbon-rich material like leaves to 1 part nitrogen-rich material like green plant waste. Lightly water this layer to start decomposition. The top 25 to 30% of the bed is where precision matters. This is your growing zone. Use a blend of native soil and compost rather than compost alone. A reliable ratio for most vegetables is 2 parts garden soil to 1 part finished compost. If your native soil is heavy clay, add a small amount of coarse sand or rice hulls, roughly 1 part for every 6 parts soil mix to improve drainage. This cap layer should be at least 20 to 25 centimeters deep. That depth ensures roots never struggle in the early season and gives seedlings immediate access to nutrients while the lower layers quietly transform beneath them. Once you've filled your bed, go ahead and water it deeply. This helps to settle the materials and, activate all that beneficial microbial life. Over the next few weeks, you might notice a bit of sinking. Don't worry, that's completely normal. If that happens, just top off with a little extra soil mix as needed. Building your bed in the fall really gives decomposition a head start. Microbes, fungi and earthworms begin their work straight away, especially if you're in a place with mild winters. By the time spring rolls around, those lower layers are already breaking down into lovely humus, releasing nutrients slowly, instead of all at once. There's also the benefit of moisture management to consider. The woody base layer acts a bit like a reservoir, soaking up rainfall and irrigation water. When things get dry, plant roots can tap into that stored moisture, and during heavy rains, any excess water drains away so you won't end up with a waterlogged bed. Plants grown in these beds develop deeper, stronger root systems. Tomatoes, brassicas, peppers, and squash especially benefit because their roots follow nutrient gradients downward rather than sitting in a shallow compost layer. Take a raised bed that is 1.2 meters by 2.4 meters and 40 centimeters deep. Instead of filling it with nearly 1 cubic meter of compost, you would use about 15 centimeters of chopped branches and stalks at the bottom. That's roughly 0.4 cubic meters of material that often costs nothing. Next, add 10 to 12 centimeters of mixed leaves and green waste, around 0.25 cubic meters. Finish with 12 to 15 centimeters of soil compost blend, requiring only about 0.3 cubic meters of compost. Compared to filling the entire bed with compost, you've reduced compost use by more than half, while building a more resilient growing system. Some gardeners worry about nitrogen lockup. In practice, this is rarely an issue when the carbon-heavy material is buried deep and topped with balanced soil. Roots grow downward gradually, long after decomposition has stabilized. Adding a light sprinkle of blood meal or well-aged manure into the middle layer can eliminate any concern if you're cautious. Others fear pests. Properly buried organic matter does not attract rodents. Problems arise only when food scraps are left near the surface. Stick to garden waste and woody material and you'll be fine. This full shortcut turns your raised bed into a living system instead of a container of purchased inputs. Each season, the lower layers continue breaking down, feeding soil life and improving structure. Instead of replacing compost year after year, you're maintaining a soil ecosystem that largely sustains itself. If you want raised beds that get better instead of poorer with time, stop filling them entirely with compost. Build them once, build them smart, and let biology do the heavy lifting. If this guide helped you rethink how you build raised beds, subscribe to the Evergreen Garden channel for more practical, soil-first gardening knowledge. Share this with a fellow gardener who's about to buy one more load of compost they don't actually need.